Andrew Lawton has written a book called The Freedom Convoy, and it's about the inside story, as he says on the cover, of 3 weeks that shook the world. I want you to tell me about why this shook the world. People all over the world were talking about Canada and the truckers.
Yeah, when I was researching global media coverage, I found a phrase I had never seen before that was popping up, a Canada-style protest. Because when all of these copycat convoys started taking place to Brussels, to Canberra, to Washington, D.C., to Paris, they were all inspired by this big protest in Canada. The other aspect, though, is that the world media did a much better job of covering it than the Canadian media did. I was getting requests from foreign outlets in the US, in the UK, and even the New York Times, to its credit, did a marvelous job compared to some of the Canadian journalists. So I think this really was a global phenomenon.
Why? Why was it? Is it because Canadians are not supposed to do this? We're a peace, order, good government, and we don't do these things?
I think that was a part of it, but also because all of the challenges that really triggered this convoy, COVID restrictions, vaccine mandates, these were all global challenges. So everyone around the world could see and understand it. You look at right now, there's this protest against an eco policy in the Netherlands. Well, that policy might not resonate with someone in Australia or someone in Canada directly, but this thing, people in Australia knew very well the damage of lockdowns. People in the UK, people in Europe, they were dealing with the same thing. So they didn't come up with the idea, but they're like, we can do this.
So, Andrew, talk about the press. You mentioned that the world press treated this a lot more accurately, I think, is what you said, than the Canadian press. And I remember seeing, and well, we've heard that the government made decisions based on CBC reporting, and someone said, oh, there's a flag there. It's a Nazi flag or something. One out of maybe thousands. What happened to the Canadian press on this thing?
I think a lot of them were scared of these people or didn't even understand the people. I mean, there were some reporters from their offices in Ottawa that were looking down on the streets and reporting on it, whereas there were other, like American crews, that were out there walking the streets doing their own thing. And some Canadian journalists were. There were some standout examples, but a lot of the press coverage that we saw by Canadian media really had an outcome and a narrative that was baked in before even talking to anyone. And I think that was really key. And just at the end of it, when the police crackdown was taking place, the New York Times reported that police were arresting people at gunpoint. The left in Canada, the media, pounced on this and said it never happened. No, there were no guns drawn. There were pictures. But the media in Canada refused to accept that this had happened.
So when you say baked down, I mean, is the media getting a lesson from this?
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I think it's possible that it just continues the polarization of these two sides, the convoy and the media not getting each other. But I think it was needed for them to have a conversation, and no one felt like the other side was in it for them.
Well, we have sharper media now. Andrew Lawton, you're part of it. Thanks very much. 3 minutes. If you did not know that the red ensign, formerly Canada's flag, has now been labeled by the Canadian government a symbol of hate, and they're sending that to all the students, then press subscribe and PayPal and learn more.